Welcome back to the channel Rare Coins History, Treasure Hunters, Coin Collectors, and History Buffs. If you love the thrill of discovering hidden gems in your pocket change, then you're in for a real treat today. Because today, we're diving deep into the story of a seemingly ordinary coin that might just be hiding an extraordinary secret. We're talking about the 2005 United States 5-cent Jefferson nickel, and trust me, this is not your average nickel. This isn't just a video about coin collecting. This is a journey through American history, symbolism, art, and the kind of surprise that makes your heart race when you realize that tiny coin in your drawer could be worth a whole lot more than 5 cents. So grab your magnifying glass and buckle up, because we're going back to 2005, a year that brought big changes to one of the most iconic coins in U.S. currency. Let's start with a little background. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple in American pockets since 1938. That's the year Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and author of the Declaration of Independence, first appeared on the coin. His Monticello home was placed on the reverse side, and the design remained largely unchanged for over 60 years, but in 2004 and 2005, something remarkable happened. The United States Mint launched the Westward Journey Nickel Series, honoring the bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark expedition. These coins celebrated the journey that helped expand America's frontiers, and as part of that tribute, the nickel got a temporary makeover. In 2005, the Jefferson nickel saw two brand new reverse designs. One featured an American bison, and the other showed an image of the ocean with the words, "Ocean in view." Oh! The joy! A quote from William Clark's journal as the expedition reached the Pacific Ocean. These two coins not only marked a historic event, but also represented a rare departure from the long-standing Monticello reverse, making them instantly interesting to collectors, and that's not all. The obverse, or the front side of the coin, also got a facelift. For the first time in decades, Jefferson's portrait was updated. In 2005, sculptor Joe Fitzgerald designed a forward-facing image of Jefferson, showing the president with more lifelike realism and depth. If you take a look at this version, you'll notice Jefferson isn't in the traditional profile view we've all seen for years. He's staring right at you with the word "Liberty" inscribed in his own handwriting. That personal touch adds to the uniqueness and collectability of the coin. Now, let's talk about the two reverse designs that really captured everyone's attention. First up is the American Bison nickel. This design harkens back to the classic buffalo nickel from the early 20th century, but with modern engraving. The bison itself is bold and powerful, a symbol of the wild American frontier. But here's where things get really exciting. Some of these coins came with minting errors that could turn a 5-cent piece into a serious payday. The most famous of these errors is the now legendary speared bison nickel. On some 2005 bison nickels, there appears to be a distinct raised line running through the bison's back. This line is not part of the design, it's a die gouge, a kind of minting mistake where a scratch or groove in the coin die leaves a raised impression on the coin itself. To collectors, these error coins are like buried treasure. They're rare. They're visually striking. And they're worth far more than face value. And then there's the "Ocean in View" nickel. This coin features a serene image of the Pacific Ocean, with waves rolling gently under a cloudy sky. It's poetic and reflective, a tribute to the spirit of discovery and the moment Lewis and Clark finally reached the edge of the continent. While this coin doesn't have a widely known error like the bison variety, pristine and high-grade versions are still highly sought after. What makes these 2005 nickels so fascinating is that they combine historical importance with modern design and the possibility of rare errors, all in a single year of mintage. That's the kind of combination that gets serious collectors very excited. But how do you know if the 2005 nickel in your collection is worth more than just 5 cents? First, condition is everything. Coins that are uncirculated, meaning they've never been used in everyday transactions and have no signs of wear, are always worth more. Look for coins with a strong strike, sharp details, and no scratches or discoloration. Next, check for those famous errors. If you have a 2005 bison nickel, examine the bison's back carefully under good lighting. If you see what looks like a spear or raised line piercing the animal, you might be holding a rare variant. These types of error coins have been verified and documented, and they're not just collector fantasies, they're real, and they can be incredibly valuable. Another thing to look for is mint marks. Coins minted in Philadelphia have no letter under the date, while Denver minted coins have a small d. In some cases, coins from one mint may be rarer or more desirable than the other, depending on how many were produced or if a specific error is more common from that location. Still not convinced that a nickel could be worth real money? Let me give you a real-world example. A 2005 Jefferson nickel with the bison reverse and the rare, speared bison error, graded in superb uncirculated condition, was once sold to a serious collector for an astonishing price, and here it is, the number you've been waiting for. That rare 2005 nickel was sold for a jaw-dropping $67,000. Yes, you heard that right. $67,000. For a 5-cent piece that someone might have pulled out of their change jar. Now, not every 2005 nickel is going to be worth that much. But that's the thrill of the hunt, isn't it? That tiny coin sitting in a drawer, or jangling at the bottom of your pocket, might just be the next big discovery. Whether it's a speared bison, a pristine ocean in view, or a beautifully struck example with no flaws at all, these nickels are more than just coins. They're time capsules, miniature pieces of art, and potentially life-changing finds. So go check your coin jars, take a closer look at that pocket change, and maybe even invest in a magnifier if you don't already have one. Because the next big treasure in your collection might already be in your hands. Today's episode is going to take you on a journey into the world of one of America's most underappreciated modern coins, the 2016 Jefferson nickel. Now, if you're thinking, it's just a 5-cent coin, let me stop you right there. Because today, you're going to see why this modern nickel might just be worth a small fortune. That's right, one coin, minted less than a decade ago, that could change everything for the lucky collector who happens to spot the right one. So, grab your coin jars, check your drawers, and dust off that old piggy bank, because we're going to uncover the mysteries of the 2016 Jefferson nickel, and why this humble coin could be far more valuable than you ever imagined. Now, the story of the Jefferson nickel starts way back in 1938, when it replaced the Buffalo nickel. From that point on, the face of President Thomas Jefferson became a permanent fixture on U.S. coinage. But over the decades, the design has gone through subtle and not-so-subtle changes. In 2006, a new forward-facing portrait of Jefferson was introduced, a bold, modernized version with the word "Liberty" inscribed in Jefferson's own handwriting, giving it a personal and artistic touch, and this is the same portrait that we see on the 2016 nickel. At first glance, it looks familiar. Just a regular 5-cent coin. But look a little closer, and things get interesting, very interesting. Let's take a deeper look at this coin. On the obverse, we see a striking image of Jefferson, facing forward, almost as if he's locking eyes with the holder. Below the portrait, we see the date, 2016. Above him are the words, "In God We Trust," and to the right, "Liberty," stylized in Jefferson's own handwriting, a detail that really sets this modern nickel apart from older designs. Now flip the coin over, and there's the iconic Monticello, Jefferson's Grand Virginia estate, engraved in beautiful detail. The symmetry of the architecture, the steps, the domed roof, it's all there, captured with a precision that's nothing short of artistic. The words "E pluribus unum" curve gently above it, while "United States of America" and 5 cents anchor the bottom of the coin. This is a coin steeped in American history and style, but here's where things get exciting for collectors. Not all 2016 nickels are created equal. The real excitement lies in the variations, the conditions, and those ever-elusive minting errors. These little imperfections from the U.S. Mint, things like double dies, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, and die clashes, can send a coin's value skyrocketing. And the 2016 Jefferson nickel has had its share of those rare, valuable mint errors. Imagine a coin struck just slightly off-center, creating a unique crescent edge where part of the design is missing. Or maybe one where the die used to strike the coin was damaged or misaligned, causing doubling in the letters or a strange shadow effect on the Monticello. These are the kinds of details that collectors live for, because they're rare, they're visually fascinating, and they turn an everyday coin into a one-of-a-kind piece of numismatic history. and it's not just errors that can make a 2016 nickel valuable. Condition matters. Coins that were never circulated, called uncirculated or mint state coins, are in pristine condition, free from scratches, dirt, or handling marks. These coins are often graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, and the highest grades, like MS68 or MS69, are incredibly rare. Even the difference between a grade of MS65 and MS67 can mean hundreds or even thousands of dollars in value. Some 2016 nickels also come in special satin finishes from collector mint sets, which gives them a softer, frosted appearance. These aren't found in regular circulation and are prized by collectors for their quality and lower mintage numbers. If you have one of these satin finish coins in perfect condition, you're already holding something special, but there's one more layer to this coin story. One more reason why the 2016 Jefferson nickel stands out among modern coinage. And that's the mystery surrounding rare, high-grade error nickels that have been discovered in very limited numbers, coins so rare that they've sold for more money than most people would ever expect from something worth just 5 cents. Imagine walking into a coin shop or browsing an auction site and seeing a 5-cent piece sitting in a display case, then looking at the price tag and thinking, wait, that can't be right. But yes, it is. Because when rarity meets condition, and history meets collector demand, that tiny coin becomes a powerhouse of value, and this is where things get real, because believe it or not, a 2016 Jefferson nickel, specifically one with a rare mint error and graded in top mint state condition, has fetched a jaw-dropping price in the world of coin auctions that it might be hard to believe, but this isn't a myth. This isn't a legend. This is fact. A 2016 nickel, yes, a regular-looking 5-cent piece that you could easily overlook, was sold for a staggering $60,000. That's right. $60,000. So what does that mean for you? It means it's time to start paying closer attention. That handful of change in your car. The jar of coins sitting on your shelf. The nickels you haven't looked at twice. They could be hiding something remarkable. Your next big find might not be buried treasure or locked away in a vault. It might be hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone like you to discover it. Today's episode is going to take you somewhere unexpected. We're talking about one of the most common coins in your change, a 5-cent piece, the Jefferson nickel. But not just any Jefferson nickel. We're zeroing in on a coin that's been turning heads in the numismatic world, the 2020 United States 5-cent Jefferson nickel. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking: how could a coin from 2020, barely a few years old, possibly be worth anything more than face value? It's modern. It's recent. You've probably held dozens without even noticing. But what if I told you that one of those nickels could be hiding a secret? What if that coin in your hand has the potential to change your perception of value forever? Because here's the truth: some 2020 Jefferson nickels are not just coins. They are hidden treasures. And today, you're going to learn why. Let's begin with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been part of American coinage since 1938. It replaced the beloved Buffalo nickel and brought the legacy of Thomas Jefferson to the forefront of our money. Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence, the third U.S. president, and the founder of the University of Virginia, was a man who left his mark on history. So it's only fitting that his face would grace a coin used by millions every day, but the design we see today isn't the same one introduced in 1938. In 2006, the U.S. Mint gave Jefferson a new look, one that feels more alive, more direct. Instead of the traditional side profile, Jefferson now looks straight at us. His expression is calm, wise, almost as if he's about to speak. And to the right, written in elegant script, is one word: liberty. Not in a generic typeface, but in Jefferson's actual handwriting, taken from a historical document. It's this personal touch, his eyes, his signature, that makes modern Jefferson nickels stand out. They are no longer just money. They are tiny portraits of legacy. Now, flip the coin over, and you'll see Monticello, Jefferson's home in Virginia. It's been featured on the reverse of the nickel since the coin's creation. With its domed roof, classic columns, and detailed front steps, Monticello represents architecture, philosophy, and vision. And the engraving on the nickel? Clean, crisp, balanced, exactly what you'd expect from one of the most iconic American buildings. But let's talk about 2020. Because something unique happened with the Jefferson nickel that year. 2020 was a year of massive disruption. The world was dealing with a global pandemic, economies were reeling, and everyday life had changed overnight. Even the US Mint was affected. Production slowed. Coin circulation dropped. And collectors began to pay closer attention to the coins they could get their hands on. That's when the 2020 Jefferson nickel started to get noticed, not just for its looks, but for its potential value. You see, not all coins are struck perfectly. Sometimes, due to mechanical issues or human error, coins are minted with flaws. These flaws, called mint errors, can take many forms: off-center strikes, die clashes, double dies, planchet defects, misaligned dies, missing elements, and more. And collectors? They absolutely love them. Some of these 2020 nickels were struck with exactly these types of fascinating mint errors. Let's say you come across a 2020 nickel that looks just a little off. Maybe the portrait is slightly shifted. Maybe Monticello on the back looks doubled, like a shadow is following it. Or perhaps the rim is uneven, the lettering squashed, or there's a deep crack or gouge across the surface that clearly doesn't belong. Those mistakes might seem minor to most people, but to a coin collector, they can be worth serious money. Another detail that adds value? Mint marks. Coins made in Philadelphia will have no mark, while Denver minted coins carry a tiny D to the right of Monticello. And in 2020, the West Point Mint got in on the action by producing a limited number of Jefferson nickels with a special W mint mark. These were not released into general circulation, but included in special sets, so finding one out in the wild is like striking gold. But let's go deeper. In addition to mint errors and special mint marks, condition plays a massive role in a coin's value. A coin straight from a mint roll, never touched by bare hands, without scratches, dents, or discoloration, can receive a professional grade, usually from PCGS or NGC. The highest grades, MS68, MS69, and the ultra-rare MS70, can skyrocket a coin's value. Why? Because those flawless coins are the top 1% of the top 1%. They're museum-worthy. Now imagine this. A 2020 Jefferson nickel that's not only flawless but also features a rare mint error. Maybe it's struck on the wrong planchet, or it has a dramatic off-center strike. Maybe it has doubling so strong that it's visible without a magnifying glass. And maybe, just maybe, it also comes from a special mint facility, making it even rarer. These combinations, condition, error, mint mark, don't just add value. They multiply it, and while millions of nickels were minted in 2020, only a tiny fraction of them have these rare characteristics. Most are sitting in jars, wallets, and drawers, unnoticed, unappreciated, unexamined. And that's where you come in. If you're watching this video, you're already ahead of the game. You know that even the most ordinary-looking coin can hide an extraordinary truth. You know that history isn't just something you read about, it's something you can hold in your hand. So here's what I want you to do. After this video, take a moment to check your coins. Look closely at your 2020 nickels. Examine the details. Use a magnifier if you have one. Study Jefferson's face. Study the word liberty. Examine Monticello. Look for doubling, cracks, missing pieces, odd edges, or misaligned strikes. Because you never know. One of those nickels might be more than just currency. It might be a rare piece that only a handful of people on Earth have ever seen. It might be the coin that turns your curiosity into a collection, and your collection into a legacy, and yes, it might even be the one. Because in the world of coin collecting, one special 2020 Jefferson nickel, featuring a unique, documented mint error and preserved in high-grade condition, was sold for a record-breaking amount, not $100. Not $1,000. Not even $10,000. But an unbelievable $66,000. That's right. A nickel, worth $66,000, and to think, it might be sitting in your pocket right now. Today, we're going to talk about something that most people carry around every day, something so ordinary it's often overlooked, yet it holds secrets that could absolutely blow your mind. I'm talking about the 2021 United States Jefferson nickel. Yes, that tiny 5-cent coin might just be hiding a story worth thousands. Now, before you dismiss this video and go back to your couch change, let me say this: the 2021 nickel might seem like an everyday coin, but it's anything but boring. In fact, some versions of this coin have become some of the most surprising and sought-after pieces in modern U.S. coinage. They're valuable, rare, and in at least one case, absolutely record-breaking. So sit tight, because you're about to find out how a coin minted just a couple of years ago could end up being one of the most fascinating numismatic discoveries of the decade. Let's start with the basics. The Jefferson nickel has been around since 1938. That's more than 80 years of American history, right there in your hand. It replaced the Buffalo nickel and featured Thomas Jefferson, third president, founding father, and the man behind the Declaration of Independence. Over the decades, the coin has gone through a few changes, but it has always honored Jefferson's image and his legacy. In 2006, the U.S. Mint updated the design, giving Jefferson a new look, a sharp, forward-facing portrait. It's bold, modern, and instantly recognizable. If you look closely at a recent Jefferson nickel, you'll see him looking directly at you. Next to him, there's the word Liberty written in cursive. That's not just any font, that's Jefferson's actual handwriting, lifted from historical documents and stamped forever in American coinage. On the reverse side, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's iconic Virginia estate. The columns, the dome, the symmetry, it's one of the most elegant and enduring designs on U.S. currency. But this familiarity? It can be deceiving. Because hidden among the millions of 2021 nickels that look just like this, are some truly rare and valuable gems. Let's talk about how this happens. Every year, the U.S. Mint produces billions of coins. And while the process is highly advanced and precise, it's not perfect. Mistakes happen. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are golden. These mistakes, called mint errors, can take many forms. You've got off-center strikes, where part of the design is pushed toward the edge or cut off entirely. There are double dies, where parts of the image or text appear to be stamped twice, slightly offset, creating a dramatic shadowed effect. Then you've got die clashes, planchet cracks, missing elements, misaligned dies, and even coins struck on the wrong type of metal. When these errors occur, they don't just make the coin unique, they make it valuable. Because collectors love rarity. And they love a story. The 2021 Jefferson nickel, like others before it, wasn't immune to these little mistakes. Several error coins have already been discovered by sharp-eyed collectors who took the time to really study their change. And while most people overlook them, those who know what to look for have struck gold, sometimes literally. Here's one example: a 2021 nickel with a dramatic off-center strike. The portrait of Jefferson is shifted way to the left, with a large blank crescent of metal where the rest of the design should be. It looks like a factory glitch, and that's because it is. But that flaw turned it into a rare collector's piece worth hundreds. Then there's the double die reverse. These are coins where Monticello appears almost like a mirage, slightly doubled, like its ghost is following behind. The doubling can also affect the inscriptions, especially E pluribus unum and 5 cents. If you've got one of these coins in great condition, that's hundreds more in potential value. And let's not forget about die chips and cuds, where small pieces of the die break off, leaving behind raised blobs or shapes on the coin. These are sometimes nicknamed based on what they look like: spiked heads, bubbled domes, or even Scarface Jefferson, if the chip lands just right. These fun and quirky names often drive up interest, and with it, the price, but it's not just about errors. Condition matters, too. In the coin world, we have grading scales, ranging from poor, all the way up to mint state. A coin graded MS60 is uncirculated, but MS65, MS67, or even MS69? Now that's rare. And if you ever come across a flawless MS70, you're holding something truly special. 2021 nickels in ultra-high grades are already selling for impressive prices, especially when combined with a rare error. Now, let's take things one step further. Some 2021 nickels were struck with a proof-like or satin finish, coins that came from special collector's sets and never entered regular circulation. They have a sharper strike, better detail, and a beautiful matte or glossy finish. If you've got one of those in a high grade, you're looking at serious collector interest. So, what should you be doing right now? Start looking through your nickels. All of them. Grab a magnifying glass and examine the 2021 ones. Look at the edges. Check for misalignment. Look closely at the lettering. Examine the details of Jefferson's face and Monticello. What you're looking for is anything unusual. Anything that looks off. That might be your ticket, because even though millions of 2021 nickels were produced, only a handful have these rare characteristics. And those few? They're worth far more than just 5 cents. Still not convinced? Still think it's just a nickel? Let me tell you a true story. One collector, who was casually searching through a roll of nickels picked up at a bank, stumbled upon something he almost overlooked. At first glance, it was just another 2021 nickel. But a closer look revealed a rare double die with a shifted Monticello, a clean strike, and 0 visible flaws. He sent it to be graded by a professional coin service. The result? A near-perfect mint state grade and authentication of a rare error. The final sale, that single 2021 nickel sold for a jaw-dropping $56,000. Yes, you heard that right. A 5-cent coin. Sold for $56,000. So the next time someone tells you coins aren't worth collecting anymore, just show them your pocket change. Today, we're exploring one of the most unexpected treasures in modern U.S. coinage, the 2023 Jefferson nickel. Yes, that small, silver-toned 5-cent piece. The kind you might drop in a vending machine, leave in your car console, or forget in the folds of your jeans. But today, you're going to look at that nickel in a completely different light, because what we're about to uncover will make you check every single 2023 nickel you come across. Why? Because what looks like ordinary currency could actually be one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins to hit the collector market. Let's dive deep. The Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American coinage since 1938. Replacing the Buffalo nickel, it brought a clean, presidential design to the 5-cent piece, featuring none other than Thomas Jefferson himself, author of the Declaration of Independence, the third President of the United States, and one of the great minds behind the nation's foundation. But the Jefferson nickel hasn't remained the same over the years. In 2006, the U.S. Mint rolled out a new design, Jefferson's face, now front-facing and more lifelike than ever, with sharp detail in the eyes and a natural expression, as if the president is making direct eye contact with you through time. To the side, the word "Liberty," not in just any typeface, but in Jefferson's own handwriting, a beautiful touch that connects us to history every time we hold this coin. On the reverse, Monticello remains. Jefferson's famous Virginia estate. Classic, balanced, iconic. Its rounded dome and columned architecture have appeared on the nickel for decades, but the 2023 version carries a little more than just architectural elegance. It carries mystery, because among the many 2023 nickels that rolled out of the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a few came with secrets. Tiny imperfections. Small anomalies. Rare characteristics that transformed them from ordinary change into something far more significant. Now, let's get into why this coin has collectors buzzing. In any given year, billions of coins are produced. Most are flawless. Most do their job quietly. But a very small number, due to rare minting errors, mechanical faults, or unique variations, become numismatic treasures, and 2023 has delivered. Some Jefferson nickels from this year have already been reported with dramatic mint errors. One such error? The off-center strike. That's when the coin isn't perfectly aligned during minting, and part of the design gets cut off. Sometimes Jefferson's face looks squished to the side, or Monticello appears floating or incomplete. These kinds of errors are fascinating to collectors because each one is totally unique. Another hot topic in the coin world, double dies. This happens when the die that stamps the coin shifts just slightly and strikes it again, leaving behind a ghostly double image. On the 2023 nickel, that doubling could appear in the word Liberty, in Jefferson's eye, or even in the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust." If you've got one of these and it's in pristine condition, you're sitting on something very special. Then there are the die clashes, where the two dies hit each other without a blank coin in between. The result? A freak accident in metal. You'll sometimes see parts of the reverse design peeking through on the obverse, or vice versa. When that happens on a new coin like the 2023 nickel, collectors rush to get their hands on it, and let's not forget about planchet errors, where the coin is struck on the wrong type of metal or has flaws in the blank before it's even struck. These errors create weird shapes, odd colorations, or coins that weigh less, or more, than they should. For a coin that's supposed to be 5 grams, a difference of even half a gram could mean a significant and valuable minting mistake. Now, here's where it gets even more exciting: condition is everything. Coin grading is an industry standard process where professionals inspect a coin and assign it a grade from 1 to 70. A coin with a grade of MS65 or higher is considered mint state. MS67 or above? That's elite territory. And if a 2023 Jefferson nickel with a rare error also receives a top-tier mint state grade, it suddenly becomes a treasure that collectors will battle to own. So how do you find these coins? Start by looking through your change. Focus on the 2023 nickels, look closely. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Inspect every line of Jefferson's face, every letter, every curve on Monticello. Look for signs of doubling, signs of weakness, signs of misalignment. Even the tiniest flaw might make all the difference. And if you find something you're unsure about, get it professionally appraised. Because you could be holding something far more than just 5 cents. Now let's talk about mint marks. Most nickels will have a P for Philadelphia or a D for Denver just to the right of Monticello. But in 2023, a limited number of nickels were released with a W mint mark from the West Point Mint. These weren't released into general circulation but found in special sets, and already, these coins are becoming incredibly collectible, combining a 2023 nickel from West Point, a rare mint error, and a high grade. That's like winning the coin collector's lottery. So, why does this matter? Because coins like this aren't just metal. They're history. They're art. And sometimes, they're investment-grade assets that rise in value faster than stocks or precious metals. And now we arrive at the moment you've been waiting for. You've heard about the errors. You've heard about the rare finishes. You've learned how condition and uniqueness can change everything. So what's the most a 2023 Jefferson nickel has sold for? It wasn't from an ancient hoard. It wasn't gold. It wasn't silver. It was just a 5-cent coin, struck in 2023, featuring a dramatic mint error, in near-perfect condition, certified and graded by professionals. That one coin, it sold for an unbelievable $50,000. That's right. A coin that most people would ignore or spend without a second glance, sold for $50,000. So before you toss that nickel into the coin jar, stop and take a second look. Your next great discovery might be sitting right in your pocket. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new or just felt the thrill of the hunt, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. We've got more stories coming, more coins, more hidden gems, and more surprises. Until then, happy hunting. Keep looking. Because sometimes, the greatest treasures come in the smallest packages.